Hello! Today we're going to learn how to write a song, and I'm going to do that by first explaining what a song is, all of its parts, what a songwriter is, and then I'm going to write a song for you, and so you can see what that process looks like. So the first thing, what is a song, right? So let's go to the whiteboards. All right. So a song is a combination of parts being melody, rhythm, and harmony. All right, so melody is, I think, probably the most common of all of these to understand, the easiest one to understand. It is just what the singer is singing usually. Then you have the rhythm, which is like the groove of the song. And then you have the harmonies, which is, piano, guitar, etc. This could even be like horns and things like that. So what's interesting is, what is a songwriter? A songwriter, as opposed to a producer or a mixing engineer or any of those people, a songwriter is the person who comes up with these things. And that's it. It doesn't even have to be writing out the horn part. It doesn't have to be finalizing the drum beat or anything like that. None of that really matters to what we're talking about here. So that is not really part of the song. So the song is going to just be when I come up with chords and I start singing over it, and I loosely picked a style. So groove/style. All right, that's it. So now what do we have to do? Here are the parts to making a song. Here's the steps. I like to start, you can start anywhere, but I like to start with harmony. So step 1, harmony. This is going to be finding out a good chord progression. This is a big topic, right? How do you figure out a good progression? Nowadays, you can just look it up or ChatGPT, ask whatever. There's easy ways to do this. It just takes a little bit of training, a little bit of knowledge. So the one term that you should look up if you don't know how to do this, I'll make a video on it someday, is called diatonic harmony. So diatonic harmony is basically the term we used for chords built from a scale. A scale is 7 notes. We usually use the major scale. And when you build chords from it, you end up with 7 chords. Not all 7 are useful. It's actually just the first 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are interval notation numbers for harmony. So the 1 chord being the root of your song, 2 chord being the second note of the scale, 3 chord the third note of the scale, 4 chord fourth, fifth, and sixth notes of your scale, building chords from that. I'm not going to go into how you do that on this video because that's not really part of songwriting. That's more music theory. But I'll do this for you. So now let's say I pick a key. So pick a key. We'll try like C major, just to keep it simple. So C major. Awesome. I'm going to make up a chord progression. I won't skip ahead. So let's go here. Making up a chord progression in C major, I'll do this music theory for you. It's going to be any of these chords. And 7 would have been B diminished, but don't worry about that. So these are the 6 chords that we can use. The order does not really matter that much. There's some guidelines to it. Usually you want the 1 chord or the 6 chord to be the first or third chord of your song. But that's pretty much the only rule. And outside that, even that rule you can break. So I'll give you a bunch of different progressions. So let me just do this randomly. First progression, so progression 1. We'll do C, D minor, E minor, F. Okay. Now, what does that sound like? That sounds like... The chords clearly work together. It's kind of boring, not because of the harmony, but because there's no groove, right? So in this step, I actually like to add a groove now. So we'll kind of take our progression, and I'll say second step, add groove. If you're just a singer, then this is pretty tough because, how do you embody a groove as one person? You can try to like da 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 da, but it's kind of easier if you're a piano player or guitar player who can go. And say that's an okay groove, but my chord progression, it may work. Maybe you want a different one. Let's try another progression. So prog 2, we're going to do D minor, F, C, G. Let's see. Again, these are kind of random. I'm not that specific, but like I said, I'm trying to follow a guideline where either the 1 chord or the 6 chord are in position 1 or 3. So this is the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and 6th chord, just for the alphabet, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? Repeats. Okay. So progression 2. I like that. I think that progression's colorful, has a lot of unique parts to it. I am going to keep that. So I also kind of like the groove. I slowed it down a little bit. That's cool. So now we have harmony and groove, which fulfills basically rhythm and harmony. So now we're just missing a melody, right? So let me brainstorm a melody. Music theory-wise, you could just use the C major scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, any of those notes in any order. But that's not usually how you come up with a melody. You just sing something, anything, over top of this. So. It sounds really familiar. That's the problem with diatonic harmony. So many songs already use it, so it's going to be a little tough. But let me try to come up with something a little bit more original sounding. Okay, cool. So again, you can brainstorm this for hours. You just play this progression. If you're not comfortable playing and singing, you would loop this progression. So you'd play this one time in a recording software, and then you'd be able to just hit it on repeat and then try a bunch of different melodies on it. But if you can play guitar, play piano, just play the chords and you'll be good. All right, so now I have a melody as well. Awesome. So technically, as soon as I write it all down, I put my melody in there, or just record my melody and my chords and all of that. That's technically a song. But we're missing one more element that is very, very common nowadays in songwriting, which is obviously lyrics, right? So I can teach you how to write some basic lyrics. So let's say step 3 now, we're going to add lyrics. But a song doesn't need lyrics, right? Instrumental music exists. So technically your song could be complete right there. Maybe different sections would be a really short song. But let's go for lyrics. Basically, what you're going to do now is you're going to think about what these chords make you feel. And you're going to start brainstorming topics. And then from those topics, you can keep making cool stuff. So let's go from... To me, this sounds kind of triumphant. I will get past this all late. I will know it's raining on the pain. I will fill up on something strange. I will take apart the broken glass I made. I will... Okay, cool. So it's kind of like this, I will something. I will... Not I will survive, right? That's a song. But I will get past this situation that I'm in. And so I'm going to take that topic and I'm going to roll with it. So this process, what I would normally do is I would hit record and I would just like play through this a bunch of times, ad-libbing random stuff, being super open and honest about just whatever it is. It could be really bad, but that's totally fine. So let's say I'm going to brainstorm here. Past, last, fast, crash. All right. So here's an example of a songwriting process, right? You take a second in silence, you think, and I'm just trying to imagine a story. And of course, you go back and you revise. The first draft doesn't have to be mind-blowingly poetic, mind-blowingly amazing. You just try your best and you try to be creative. Don't be so direct that you're like, this is my grandmother, Beth, and she walks down the steps of her house and then leaves and then goes on a drive and then comes back and then eats dinner. That's like, there's not a lot you can really go with that. I think the topic is cool, but you can't be too direct. You want to be a little bit flowery in the sense of you don't have a lot of space in a song, right? You have less than 3 minutes and far less words to convey your story. So pick things that feel more real, even though they're really short. And the best ways to do that is really through metaphor and analogy. So I have this line at the bottom that maybe works, maybe it doesn't, but I hold my dreams like they're broken glass. It's kind of this thing of like, obviously you're not going to squeeze broken glass. So when people say like, hold on to your dreams and follow them, they're broken glass. So in this case, you'd be like really careful about it, and you like not really trying, maybe dodging it, avoiding. So we'll find out. If it's an effective analogy, great. If it's not, I'll change it later. But now I'll complete this by having my lyrics and my progression all together with my melody. So, and then F, C, G. I've been stuck in the past. I've written stories about victory while I relapse. Gotta fix that. I played my hand the best I can, but I still hold my dreams like they're broken glass. Broken glass. All right, so now we have some parts here. Let me make that a little bit bigger, sorry. So now we have some parts that I think work, but the second line, it was just too many syllables, so I have to figure out how to make that work, right? So I've been stuck in the past. I've written stories about victory while I relapse. I've written stories. All right, so again, you can't judge yourself when you're doing this. So sometimes I'll be like, "That's so stupid," but I'll still write it just because if it works for now, then I'll be able to fix it later. And we're just trying to write a song, right? That's all that matters. So I've been stuck in the past. I've written fun stories while I relapse. Played my hand the best I can, but I still hold my dreams like they're broken glass. They're broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. And it's not lazy songwriting to repeat lyrics. Again, it's about emotional. You don't have a lot of time. So coming up with more lyrics actually can be the lazier version instead of just making sure that what you have is good enough to tell your story. So broken glass is definitely the analogy that I think is the strongest that I have right here. It's the main one that I'm using. Played my hand as a deck of cards. Write fun stories while I relapse is kind of like the stories that you kind of create for yourself or that you tell yourself, or it could be literal. It could be actual. This person's a writer and then they write stories and then they relapse into whatever bad habits they had, whether alcoholism or anything else, right? I'm not sure yet. Until I have more verses, I can't really explain a lot of that. So those are things that I need to address. What I do know lyrically is that I'm in first person, and I have to stay that way because otherwise it gets confusing to follow. I also know that there's no other characters in this song yet, at least. And if there was another character in the song, I should introduce them early. It's like in a movie. You shouldn't wait to introduce all of your characters until later. You should probably get them established at the beginning of the film, and then you can progress their character through the rest. Again, we only have 3 minutes. I'm not going to be able to save an entire character for later. So for the most part, if your characters are important, you should do this. I'm thinking about like the Father Mackenzie, ba-da-da-da. So that's for the Beatles song. They add characters every verse, but each character is given its own verse, and the purpose of the song isn't to progress the narrative of one character, but to basically tell many stories and then have them combine. So it's kind of an interesting way of doing that. But those are some of the like exceptions. You usually want all of your characters established by the first verse, especially by the first chorus. You should be good on that. All right, so now let's talk about song form. So we have a song section, but usually for a song we need many sections that we're going to combine because we can't just play the same thing over and over again. Some people do, but that's kind of tough. So here's what you're going to start with. Intro, verse 1, pre-chorus 1, chorus 1, then interlude. Then I'm going to shorthand this V2, PC2, there we go, PC2, C2, and then bridge / solo, and then C3. Okay, and then we'll just add an outro at the end there too. So that is song form, and this is actually easier than it looks. So intro, instrumental, and establishes the ambiance or setting, emotional setting. So we'll just say establishes emotion. Okay, verse 1, establish character, point of view, and setting. Pre-chorus 1, set up the chorus musically and lyrically. Chorus 1 is going to be main theme of the song, lyrically and musically. All right, interlude, same as intro part, usually. Verse 2 is going to be just more description more content, more lyrical content. Pre-chorus 2, again, sets up chorus. Chorus 2, same as chorus 1. Bridge/solo, contrasting section to keep things fresh. C3, same, or double. So you can just double the chorus that came before it. And then outro, you can just wind down, complete the song / story, often same as the intro part. Okay, so I know I'm writing fast, handwriting not super solid, but this is what you're really looking at when you're doing song form. Some of these are optional, like verse is not optional, but pre-chorus, this is optional. Interlude, optional. Obviously PC2 then is optional because you don't actually need a pre-chorus. And even bridge/solo is optional. Outside of that, I think everything else you should probably stick to. I mean, chorus 3 you don't need, so maybe I'll do that too. And outro, optional. And while we're doing it, intro optional too. So I wouldn't take away all of these. You can though. You can go straight from verse 1 into chorus 1, straight from chorus 1 to verse 2, then chorus 2, and then end your song, right? That'd be a really short song, but you could do that, and that would be fine. So take that into account. This is basically the form that you want to work with. How many different parts do we have then? Intro is a new part. Verse 1, new part. Pre-chorus 1, new part. Chorus, new part. After that, interlude is the same as intro. Verse 2 is the same as verse 1. Pre-chorus is the same as pre-chorus 1. Chorus is the same as that. So still just 4 parts. And then bridge/solo is maybe the 5th part. And then everything else again is the same. So you're going to need 5 different parts at most, but you don't actually need to worry too much about them. Some of them are really short, so you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, 5 of the things that we already did. Not quite. You can actually just play the same progression with the groove, and that can be your intro. Just doing that twice or something. It could be the intro. For the bridge, we can make a new progression, or for the chorus, we can make a new progression, and really that brings it down to like 3 parts that you have to really worry about. Verse, chorus, and bridge. Okay. So next thing that we're going to need to do is create what I'm going to call an identity part. And this is a Neil-specific belief. Your song needs to have something that makes it sound like your song inherently. And usually I don't usually mean vocally on this, just like something about your song, something about your parts that sounds like it's this song and not every other song. Like I said, progressions actually are very common. Everyone uses diatonic harmony, so you only have 6 chord options and you order them in a certain way. There's a lot of options within that, but not infinite, right? And there's so many songs. So we're bound to repeat the same progression hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So how do we make it sound more unique? So let's say my groove was... Maybe my guitar strumming pattern is already an identifier enough, where if you heard this, you'd go, oh, that's this song. I've got it. But to me, if you play this for me, I would still hear like 7 different songs that are really popular off the top of my head. So I'm going to make an identity part that's more like... So depending on the instrument that you play, that might be difficult to make or easy to make. This doesn't have to be something that you have to be able to play with just one instrument, right? It could be like me looping this. So let me try to do that real quick. I can go... So now within my chord progression, let's say I'm not able to play chords and this crazy part by myself, which is normal. Most people can't, and even I am limited by what I can do with that. So now we have maybe another. And that would be an identity part, right? When you hear that, it's unique enough that before I even start singing, you'll know, oh, hey, that's this new song that I just heard, right? And that makes it more unique. We don't want to open every story the same way. If every book that you read had the same first page, it would be like, what would make you want to keep going, right? So this is how I spice up my first page, and then it'll come back in the interlude and in the outro. All right. So now that I've explained that part and I've kind of written something, again, it could be anything you like, and this is what makes your song inherently going to be different than mine, right? And this is where the artistry comes in. Then we add the rest of the lyrics and different song sections. So let's walk through the next song section and we'll see what happens. So we'll go for chorus next. Let's just make another progression, honestly. I don't even know if it's going to be the chorus or not. But, okay, we'll go back to our chords that I've written down here. And we say, all right, what is another order that we can put these chords in? Let me use A minor now. I haven't used A minor before. So I'm going to use A minor. And then I'm going to go to F. Then D minor C. I'll try that. So I'm going to go A minor, F, D minor, C. All right, let's see what that sounds like. It works, but I'm not a huge fan of C at the end, so I'm not going to do this. And the D minor, it's fine, but I'm curious if I could do something different. Let me see here. What if I went A minor, F, G, D minor. I could do that. That's another section. Groove might want to change a little bit, but overall it has to be the same tempo, right? That way they connect to each other. But yeah, that sounds good. I only really need that, I suppose. Let me do one more just so we have like a bridge part as well. But you don't actually need a separate progression for every part. So my verse and chorus could be the same, my bridge could be different, or my bridge could be the same as my verses. Anything didn't really matter. So let me try. I'll do F, A minor, E minor, F. So F, A minor, E minor. And I'll repeat E minor to make it 4. Doesn't have to be 4 bars. Oh, sorry. Boop, boop. There you go. So that's what I'm playing. And I like that. I do already kind of know what some of this stuff sounds like before I play it, just because like I said, there's only 6 chords, so I've kind of memorized what they sound like. But you just trial and error, and then you trial and error enough, and then eventually you'll start to hear what they sound like in advance, and you'll go, oh, that's what 1, 4, 6, 5 sounds like, or whatever it is. So F, A minor, E minor, E minor. That's 4, 6, 3, 3. But yeah, so that sounds cool. And now I just need more lyrics. So I'm going to write some more lyrics, and then we'll reconvene for this. Again, I'm going to brainstorm by playing the progression and singing through some topics. I've decided that my song is about, it's going to be kind of like this chasing your dreams kind of situation, but overcoming the barrier when you get yourself stuck, and then you have to overcome that situation. So you're on track, something happens, addiction, anything. It really could be anything, but I might be more specific. We'll find out. I might do alcohol addiction in this case or something, but something that's life ruining, and then you have to recover, and then you triumph and you keep going and your story progresses. You don't get stuck forever. So that's what my song will be about. Songs can be about anything, but usually you want something that's not super broad, like where you need an entire 10 minutes to explain what it is. You want something that's kind of relatable, and I feel like that situation is somewhat relatable for most people. They've had barriers, they've slowed down their career progress or whatever it is, and then they've decided to keep going. So I'm gonna try this. I'll do this on camera, but I'll probably edit this out. So let's try. I've been. So. I don't want to say top of my class. That's too cheesy. All right, there's another tip. Whenever you're stuck, where you go to Rhyme Zone and you search a word. For me, I'm stuck on play, where I need a good word. So I'm going to go to near rhymes that are kind of long, just because short ones are a little bit too obvious sometimes. It depends. If the word is common, then you want to be careful, but outside that, you're fine. So airway, at bay, betray. Maybe betray is kind of cool. So let's try. All right. I have a lot of lyrics, but none of them are chorusy enough for me. Chorus lyrics have to be easy to sing, and nothing's easy to sing. So I'll try to create a chorus here. It might be super cheesy, but we'll say we'll just go for it. All right. Brain power. It's a lot. But we make it happen, and now we divide into verses and choruses and such. So I'll say verse 1 is this. Then broken glass will be my version of my chorus. Then verse 2. Then bridge. Oh, maybe this will be my bridge. Am I missing anything? Broken glass. Maybe I'll do both. No, I want my bridge to be kind of the change. So I have an extra section that I can use for something. And then this will be my true chorus. And that's my kind of theme. Move fast because I've been standing on broken glass. Okay. So some basic rules for cheesy lyrics, right? That's really what we're all kind of afraid of, right? Is like, what if the lyrics are too boring or too basic, and it just kind of feels like, oh, come on, they're like a baby could have written those, right? So a couple of things you got to be careful of. One is too many frequent rhymes, like in too simple of rhymes. So you'll notice I have a pretty easy rhyme scheme, which is just like A, honestly, A, right? So that's a little bit risky to sound kind of cheesy. Maybe I should have made A, B, or ABBX. That's kind of, or XBBX, or ABBAX, whatever. So X just means you don't rhyme. But yeah, we'll see. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That you'll have to find that out. And then lack of analogy would be another thing that makes it sound basic, but I do have some analogies. And when I'm being direct, I think it's important. So I'm trying. And then, of course, when you're done with your lyrics, you should revise them and make them as good as possible. But yeah, try to be image-based with your lyric writing, and that'll also help you stand out and not just sound like, you don't want to sound like you're a robot when you're making these lyrics. And so if I do, I'm going to try to fix it later. But here's what my song might be like. So I've been stuck in the past. I wrote fun stories, but I relapsed. I played my hand the best I can. Now I hold my dreams like they're broken glass, the broken glass. Past every class, spend my hours studying on the grass. Graduated, send my hours, but I never heard back. Tried and tried, failed my guess, so I couldn't take them. I prevailed, so I found my safety in the glass. At the bottom, the only mirror, I wouldn't cry, wouldn't cry, wouldn't cry. Buried in credit down, I'm soaked in brown. I wonder what I'm good for. Okay, so that'd be like a pre-chorus, honestly. If I were to see that, I would be like PC. Just because I'm already full on lyrics. The top part I could make fit in a verse, but I think it's just too many lyrics on that second verse. All right, my next progression was F, or A minor, F, G, D, right? Or A minor, F, G, D minor. I'm good for... I chose not to play. I fight for version, me I betrayed. I'm something down, so something strange. I got on the face. Actually, maybe I want to do both. I'll do this. See if that works. I'm buried in credit, soaked in rum. I wonder what I'm good for. In the pain and the rain, there's still light. My spirit's restrained. It's just a game I choose not to play. I'll fight for the version of me I betrayed. Something that gains it, and I'll say, so I actually wouldn't want to do this for a chorus because it's this progression breaks my rule of having A minor or C, so 1 or 6 on the 1 and 3. So because of that, I actually wouldn't want to use this as my chorus. It's fine for a bridge where it's a contrast, but I'm actually going to go back to our first chord progression for this part, which I forgot. So I'm going to look up again. C, D minor, E minor, F. Wait, that's not, is that true? No, second one. D minor, F, C, G. All right. So I'll go. Put down the bottle, take a chance, go full throttle on what you have. Put down the bottle, take a chance, go full throttle on what you have. I can't be afraid to move fast, 'cause I've been standing on broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. Broken glass. All right, so I think that's fine, right? That could be, for the sake of the video, that'll probably be the end of the song, right? And the thing I want you to realize, I've written a lot of songs, and still, every single time I write a song, I don't know what it's going to be. I have no idea, before the song is written, what I'm going to write. I had no idea that I was going to write this about this topic today, and that's kind of the fun of it. It's like a journaling, in a sense. I don't know where this came from, but it is, I feel like I feel it, you know, and that's how you know that your song has the potential to be worth finishing, right? If you're writing a song and you feel nothing at all, even when you're done and you have it kind of saved as a voice memo, then you might decide that you don't want to continue with that one. You want to try a new one, but this didn't take that long to write, and so I think it's kind of a matter of self-expression, and that's what songwriting's for. All right, now we have our song. I would walk you through how to produce it, but honestly, I feel like that is worth its own video separately while I produce this. But we'll see. How about that? I'll edit this one, and I'll maybe even record the next video right now, and then we'll decide if we need to produce this. Because the thing is, the songwriting process is actually done. As soon as I record a voice memo of this, I could send it out and be like, hey, I just wrote a song, and that'd be it. But I wouldn't release that, right? It's just guitar and voice. I need drums, I want bass, I want piano, I want some shakers, you know, whatever it is. I want those things, and it doesn't actually have to be my job to write those parts. It will be, because I like to do production, but that is a producer's job to figure out how to do all that. And then let's say you don't play bass. You don't play guitar, you don't play piano, or whatever you need, then you have to hire players, and then you pay them, and you book a studio if you don't have recording equipment at home. You book a studio, you get everyone to come. If you don't know how to write parts, you might hire somebody else to write parts for the instrumentalists, or you can, depending on which instrumentalists you get, you can hire them to write their own parts. And they might even just do that for the same session price that you're hiring them in general. That's what I usually do. I don't really mind writing parts on the spot, so long as people understand that I'm writing them on the spot and not spending hours and hours thinking about them in advance. But yeah, so that is, in essence, how you're going to go about songwriting. And then in production, I'll teach you exactly how to do that. I do play all the other instruments that are needed for production, which definitely helps, and I've spent a lot of time learning how to do that, so I can teach you the basics of what I'm thinking about for every instrument. But in essence, it is kind of a job that is not supposed to be done by one person. It's kind of hard to do as one person, though it's possible. All right, well, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope the song sounds pretty good. I'm actually going to probably go in and do a soft demo recording, and I'll play that at the end of this video so you can hear what that song sounded like. And then, let me know if you had any questions on what I did here. Remember, image-based lyrics are better. Show and tell, not show instead of tell. You don't want to be so flowery that nobody knows what you're talking about. But you don't want to be so telly that it just sounds like they're not lyrics. You just wrote them down like a random journal and you're just singing random words, right? So you need some kind of in between there. And then for chord progressions, I explained that. Groove, I explained that. Identity parts, you're just following the scale, playing instrument parts, anything. It could be any melody that's not your vocal melody. It could be an identity part. Even your vocal melody played by an instrument could have been an identity part. So plenty of room there. I hope this was valuable to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right, so now I'm recording a demo for this song. I've done very, very small changes to the lyrics to just make it more consistent. Nothing major, and I'll show you what a demo is like. It's very simple. I'm not going to play more instruments than just me on guitar, just for the sake of showing you what a normal, reasonable demo might be, but... I've been stuck in the past. I tell fun stories, but I relapsed. I played my hand the best I can. Now I hold my dreams like they're broken glass, broken glass. Down the bottle, take a chance, go full throttle on all you have. Put down the bottle, take a chance, go full throttle on broken. Of broken glass. Went to college, passed every class, spent my hours studying on the grass. Graduated, sent my apps, but I never heard back. Tried to try, I failed, I guess. Found my safety in the bottom of a glass. Soaked in rum, I wonder what I'm good from. In the pain, my spirit restrained, still out over the rain. It's just a game I choose not to play. I'll fight for the version of me I've traded. Buried in credit, soaked in rum. I wonder what Put down the bottle, take a chance. I go full throttle on what you have. Put down the bottle, take a chance. Go full throttle on what you have. All right, so you just do one take, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, and you really messed up, you can go back and do it. I kind of switched the order of some lyrics that I didn't mean to do, but that's because on my, handwritten sheet, they are also in the wrong order, and I was just hoping I'd remember, but I didn't. So hopefully you like this, and I'm going to, in the next video, produce this and make a finalized version that hopefully will sound even better. And I'm not yet sure if this would qualify as a song that I'd be comfortable releasing like on streaming platforms, but I can at least make a really good demo that I can save for later or give to somebody else if I want to later. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.